And to get the ball rolling, if Congress does not work with the administration to move this agreement forward, then it's going to be very, very tough.
Kent Baucus with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. I'm Rita Frazier for the RFD Livestock Report.
Hey, good Tuesday to you. It's time once again for RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yankee. Thanks for joining us. Rita is in D.C. We will hear from her later today on RFD Today. And I can imagine what some of her topics of discussion were with ag leaders from around the country. Our annual Washington Watch trip is going on with farm broadcasters from throughout the country. Today she'll be at USDA headquarters, and then tomorrow on Capitol Hill, hearing from folks like Senator Pat Roberts, Minority Chair in the House, well, now Minority Leader Colin Peterson of the House Ag Committee, and many others. So just imagine what kind of sentiment she'll be hearing in D.C. in the next couple of days, especially just after the China trade negotiations did not reach a suitable conclusion. In fact, more tariffs and more talk about trade, not aid, and we'll hear from that later in the program from our Washington correspondent, Matt Kay. We have a lot of numbers, and not a lot of good numbers, but what if the weather gives us some field work opportunities later in the week? Just a couple of tips to keep in mind from Jim Donnelly, technical agronomist at DeKalb Asgrow. He's in northern Illinois, and we'll hear from him in just a few minutes. So plenty to discuss here on a Tuesday, RFD Illinois, plus markets and weather. Let's get that rain even more out of the forecast. Plenty to come here on the RFD Radio Network.
With this week's edition of Farm Week, the early word, here's DeLoss Yankee.
Planting delays continue throughout the state due to persistent rainfall. However, University of Illinois agronomist Emerson Nafziger says there's no need to panic. Learn more about potential yield losses due to delayed planting in the latest edition of Farm Week. Harold Wilkin and his son Ross grow organic crops and operate a grain mill in Iroquois County near Danforth. Turn to Farm Week for details about their unique operation. Arriving soon in your mailbox.
No other Farm Weekly in Illinois has as many people on the ground in Illinois covering Illinois agriculture for you with the depth on key issues to help keep you profitable. And don't forget, you can get daily or even more frequent updates online anytime at farmweeknow.com.
Welcome back to RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yankee. Well, we increased our productivity last week, according to Ag Statistics. In the report that was released on the 6th of May, it said the week prior we had 0.2 of a day suitable for field work. And in the report released yesterday, this past week, we had 0.8 of a day suitable for field work. Topsoil moisture is up to 77% surplus, 23% adequate. Subsoil moisture, 70% surplus, 30% adequate. An average temperature of 56 degrees around the state, 4.9 degrees less than average. And statewide precipitation was 1 8/8, 5/100 more than average. Not nearly as bad as the week before when the statewide average was about 3 1/4. But it just adds to the delays. We went from 9% to 10% to now 11% planted for corn. That's all the progress we've had just in the last 3 weeks. Corn emerged 4% behind the 5-year average of 49, 3% of soybeans planted behind the 5-year average of 34, and behind last year's pace of 61. 35% of wheat is headed behind the 5-year average of 53. Slow go east of Springfield. Our Farm Week crop watcher this week was Jimmy Ayers in central Sangamon County. Springfield Sunday hit only 50 degrees, which was the lowest high temperature for May 12 in Springfield in more than 110 years.
Very little crops been planted around here. There's been some spots here and there that have been planted, but majority of farmers are ready to go and haven't had the opportunity.
for anything that got planted maybe even a couple of weeks ago? Is there any sign of any kind of emergence at this point?
There is some emergence going on. Some of them are pretty irregular. Haven't seen any really good stands that have come out of that. I just haven't had the opportunity to see a lot of them.
Hopefully, though, it'll get warm in a couple of days. I guess at this point, part of the temptation will be to get in there too soon.
Some of the forecasts are calling for maybe a 10th this week in central Illinois there. I think everybody's ready to go, and you're exactly correct. The opportunity of going in too early is going to be real for a lot of people. We've had times that maybe we should have done something and we didn't, and it was just too wet. Yeah. I know I've been to the field several times. It was too wet. I couldn't keep going.
Jimmy Ayers in Central Illinois, Sangamon County Crop Watcher. You can find his and the other reports in each week's edition of Farm Week. Weed condition as of Sunday is 37% good to excellent. A week ago was 38. Pasture condition is rated 66% good to excellent. Last week was 63. A year ago was rated 74. Nationwide, the corn planting number hit 30%. The estimates were for 35. 5-year average is 66. Indiana, 6% complete. Ohio, 4%. South Dakota, 4%. Minnesota went from 6 to 21. Nebraska's almost half done. Iowa, 48% complete. And for soybeans, 9% nationwide behind the 5-year average of 29. Indiana, 2. Minnesota, 3. Ohio, 2. Missouri, 5. Iowa, 13. Nebraska, up to 20. Kent Caston's a farm broadcaster and farms in McLean and Livingston counties.
The planter continues to sit idle on our farm after we received about 1.5 inches of rain total last week, with systems moving through Wednesday, Thursday, and also over the weekend. I spoke recently with Ford County farmer Greg Kerber. He was able to level off some chiseled stock ground in April, which will eventually be planted with non-GMO soybeans.
The conditions were okay, not great, but tolerable. And I felt like I needed to go out and do something. So that was my activity last Friday afternoon and Saturday morning.
Last year, recapping that, how do you look in this area?
Last year was a good year for us. Not as good as 2017, but we had good crops. And for the most part, everybody around here got stuff out in a timely fashion. We finished up right before some of the rain started, so I was thankful for that, and didn't get as much tillage as we wanted done, and certainly not the anhydrous application. We would have liked to have gotten a lot more of that done.
Our thanks to Ford County farmer Greg Kerber for the update this week. Reporting from southeastern Livingston County for the RFD Radio Network, I'm Kent Casson.
Thanks, Kent. Meanwhile, News Monday came from China issuing a statement on proposed tariffs for U.S. goods against $60 billion worth, taking effect June 1. China says it will impose tariffs ranging from 5 to 25% against more than 5,000 U.S. products. We'll talk agronomy next. What if we get a green light for field work later this week? That's next on RFD Illinois.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, All Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
Attention corn farmers. Your corn checkoff dollars are working with the U.S. Meat Export Federation to grow red meat export volumes. Because when we're exporting beef, we're also exporting corn. The beef industry consumes 28% of all corn fed to livestock, plus additional corn in the form of DDGs, a co-product of ethanol production. Now that's what we call working an angle. Your checkoff is working corn from all angles. Because of the Illinois Corn Marketing Board, your profitability is our bottom line. A message from the Illinois Corn Checkoff.
Welcome back to RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yonke. Visited yesterday with Jim Donnelly, technical agronomist to Calv Asgrow in northern Illinois. Quite a few days still in, whether that's Moline or Rockford or points in between, of 20, 30, 40% rain chances this week. But 70 degrees by tomorrow, maybe 80 later in the week. What if we get the green light to go? And do we need to go soon? Or are we sacrificing yield at this point of the year, having not been in the field much, if at all?
Yeah, I don't think we're quite at that point. I think we also have to step back and realize that, hey, it's still only May 13th. And granted, most of us want to have all this completed, well before this point. But we don't really start to see drastic yield reductions until that last week of May and then into June. So if we can get, a really good chunk of this in the ground this week, I still feel really, really positive about yield outlooks. And again, it kind of goes back to the question you asked me prior. We still have to make sure that we're doing a good job of actually doing field work as well as planting. So again, this week, we still have a good shot at very good yield potential if we can get it in here.
As the trends have changed more and more toward early soybean planting, but now here we are on the 13th of May. So, does it matter which goes in first? At this point, I'm going to be focusing on corn, for sure. I think you're going to see that yield penalty pick up with corn if you don't get it in, a fair amount more than say, beans. So, yeah, personally, I'm looking at focusing on corn and then coming in with beans right behind it. If I'm doing any kind of fertilizer before corn, that's another thing where the discipline comes in too, right? I can't rush corn if I'm going to put anhydrous on, or is that out the window at this point, do you think? Well, I think one really has to consider, if he doesn't have nitrogen on and they're looking at doing anhydrous, I think maybe one should probably consider maybe changing it up. The nice thing is you do have options to be a little more flexible as far as your nitrogen application method. So the thing you're looking at now is if you had to go on and put anhydrous ammonia ahead of your corn planting, you really need to wait that 7 to 10 days, especially considering that conditions really aren't the best for any sort of field work right now. You really need to wait even longer considering that. So, I would be one that would really be looking hard at changing the form, either spraying part of your nitrogen on with solution, with your pre-plant, and then coming in and planting a side dress application afterwards. I think we got to really be cautious about using ammonia as rushed as we are right now. Jim Donnelly, DeKalb Asgrow Technical Agronomist. If you use anhydrous now and have to wait 7 to 10 days, well, it's almost Memorial Day. One more point from Jim here, now talking about maturity dates. We don't really think we need to switch until that 3rd to 4th week of May, kind of depending on how far north you are. Making that switch to an earlier relative maturity is a yield-reducing decision right off the bat. So if we do that, we want to make sure that we have enough risk to back up that decision to do so. Jim Donnelly up north for DeKalb Asgrow. I wanted to visit with him early in the week in hopes that he would be way too busy to talk later in the week, but good advice from Jim. We appreciate. Trade, not aid, is once again the call from farm leaders in Washington as the president seeks more tariff rescue help for producers. RFD's Washington correspondent Matt Kay reports.
More aid. The president wants to spend $15 billion more on top of the earlier $12 billion in market facilitation payments and other farm support as the trade war with China continues. But American Farm Bureau officials say aid will never make up for the cost of lost markets. AFB's Dave Solmonson.
Farmers would prefer to get back to the situation where we had trade. We could move beyond the tariffs. I think everybody was very interested and hopeful, and a lot of the messaging was very confident that we would see a trade deal with China. We still may.
But China has now retaliated for higher U.S. tariffs, raising earlier tariffs on some farm goods to up to 25%.
Things like honey, live plants, peas, sweet corn, coffee and tea, potato products, a lot of vegetable oil products, prepared foods.
Trump tweeted the new $15 billion subsidy figure on Friday, suggesting the government use collected tariffs to buy farm goods for humanitarian aid to other nations. But it's unclear how repurposing those revenues would be accomplished, and it continues the uncertainty farmers don't want. Minnesota producer Mike Peterson told House Ag lawmakers recently,
when farmers don't have money, they can't spend it in town, and not having the markets that our checkoff dollars and all of our negotiations in the past had negotiated for, we need to get ships tied up to docks in foreign countries. That's just the way it is, and I don't think we can accomplish that by telling our customers how to act.
The new tariffs may take up to 2 weeks to hit goods still in transit, leaving a bit more time to reach a trade deal. Still, U.S. farm income is depressed, bankruptcies up, and existing tariffs continue to punish farmers in lost Chinese purchases and higher farm equipment costs from metals tariffs. For the RFD Radio Network, Matt Kay, Washington.
Yesterday, the market started horribly. At one point, July soybeans went to $7.91, August $7.97 3/4. Some of the lowest prices we've seen for beans in 11 years. Meanwhile, CME Group yesterday announced it began publishing a new fresh bacon index to establish a transparent price reference for fresh pork bellies used to make bacon. The CME Group says prices for bellies are the most volatile of all primal cuts, with volatility peaking at 40% last year. We'll break now for markets and weather.
With the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Tuesday morning, I'm Jim Taylor. Corn higher, beans lower, and wheat ending Monday higher. May corn closing at $3.47.5, up a nickel. July corn up 4 3/4, $3.56.5, and September corn up 4 3/4, $3.65 3/4. May beans closing at $7.91, down 6. July beans down 6 3/4, $8.02.5, and August beans $8.09, down 6 3/4. May wheat closing at $4.31 1/4, up 12 1/4. July wheat up 12 1/4, $4.37. September wheat $4.45 1/4, up 11 1/2. May bean meal, $2.84 even, down a dime. May bean oil, $26.35, down 15 cents. And current electronic overnight trading, May corn up 7 1/4, July corn up 6 3/4, September corn up 6 1/4, $3.72. July beans in the overnight up 13, August beans up 13 1/2, and September beans up 13 3/4, $8.28 3/4. July wheat in the overnight up 2, September wheat up 2, and December wheat up 2 3/4. $4.62 1/2. In the outside markets, July Brent crude oil 70.23, that's down 39 cents a barrel. The June gold contract down 3.60 this morning, 12.98.20. In the livestock market from Monday, May lean hogs 83.55, down 20 cents. June lean hogs down $3, 86.67. June live cattle 109.75, down 2.70. August live cattle down 197, 106.92. May feeders 135.05, down 2.57. August feeder cattle down 3.72, 143.10. Illinois direct barrels and gilts trading steady on Monday at 51 to 57. That's the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Tuesday morning. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, this is meteorologist Anthony Baglio, and with the early morning ag weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Tuesday morning. Most of the state has remained dry over the past 24 hours with comfortable temperatures in place. We'll see a return to very warm temperatures by the end of the week, so make sure to keep the sunglasses and sunscreen handy. A flood warning continues for areas near the Illinois River in Peoria. As of 7:45 Monday evening, the river was at about 26.2 feet, which is nearly 10 feet above flood stage. Expect this warning to continue for most of the week, and if you encounter areas of high water, make sure to turn around and do not go through them. High temperatures today will top out in the mid to upper 60s with mostly sunny skies across the area. As far as rain chances are concerned, a weak system will bring the chance for a few scattered showers and storms, especially across central Illinois tonight and into the early morning hours Wednesday, although the overall chance does not look overly impressive. Most of the rest of the week should remain on the dry side with minimal rain chances, which should lead to clearer conditions for spring planting and any outdoor activities. Wednesday will be several degrees warmer with high temperatures reaching 70 degrees for most spots. By Thursday, we'll keep the chance for a very isolated shower or two, but most of the day looks dry and very warm with highs near 80 degrees. Make sure to plan for this extra heat by staying hydrated and keeping the sunscreen and sunglasses handy. Friday will also be very warm with highs in the low 80s once again across the state. The 6 to 10 day outlook outlines above average temperatures and rainfall chances. The latter half of the week, however, should hold decent amounts of dry time for any outdoor activities. Temperatures will remain above average, though, for most of the end of the week. Once again, I'm meteorologist Anthony Baglione from Freeze Notice Weather. Have a great Tuesday.
Farm, family, food. Those three words best describe Illinois Farm Bureau. Farm. For 100 years, Farm Bureau in Illinois has represented and served the men and women who make Illinois one of the top food-producing states. Family. At the heart of rural Illinois are traditional farm families who work together through Illinois Farm Bureau. And food. Farm Bureau families are proud to grow the healthy food they provide their families and yours. Farm, family, food. The heart of Farm Bureau in Illinois.
Warmer weather means a longer honey-do list. Your county Farm Bureau can help you stay on top of your project list and save you money along the way. A Farm Bureau membership offer includes discounts on equipment and supplies from Grainger, plus free shipping on all standard Grainger products. Browse thousands of items from landscaping equipment to power tools. Anything you need to get the job done, Grainger has it. Not a Farm Bureau member? Call us at 309-557-2689. Or visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
Are you preparing for planting season? We don't mean to be a pest, but here's a few things you need to know before you grow. The Illinois Department of Agriculture now requires special local needs labels, including new restrictions for the use of herbicide dicamba on top of soybeans in Illinois for the 2019 growing season. Did you know these additional restrictions go beyond federally approved labels? Remember, the label is the law. To find out more about these Illinois-specific labels, visit ilfb.org/label-aware.
Hi, this is Sabrina Hardy, RFD Business Manager. I want to thank you for listening to the RFD Radio Network, the #1 ag radio network in Illinois. Did you know RFD Radio Network's programming is being broadcast by Rita Frazier and DeLosh Yankee with a combined 50 years of broadcasting experience? Join us daily. If you have any questions, email me at chardy@ilfb.org.
That'll do it for RFD Illinois on a Tuesday. We always salute a community. Today we say hi to Allenville Village in Moultrie County, population about 150. 1 L, 2 L's, A-N-E-N. We say hi to all Allens in the state today. Sponsored by Country Financial. Your farm is your family's legacy and part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sundown to get the job done, we're here protecting the things you love every step of the way. Country Financial. Learn more by visiting countrycrop.com. For Rita Frazier, for Jim Taylor, I'm DeLoss Yankee. Have a great Tuesday. We'll do it again tomorrow.